Each episode, I'm going to start with a segment called WTFs, called Weekly Total Fines and Suspensions. I used to do my audio podcast weekly. I'm going to be doing the podcast bi-weekly, probably moving forward, but I'm going to keep the name of the segment because that's what it's always been, and that's what I'm going to stick with. It's my show. I can do what I want. And what I do in this segment is tell you what the NHL's Department of Player Safety issued for supplemental discipline over the time period I'm covering and compare it to what I would have done as tough call over the same time period using the same real life incidents. So the actual NHL's Department of Player Safety had not issued any supplemental discipline since December 23rd, that is up until 2 days ago when they issued a fine to Mikhail Sergachev for his sucker punch to Connor Garland, and they issued a fine to Clayton Keller for his cross check to the head of Eric Brandstrom. Compare that to what Top Call would have done. Compared to 2 fines, I would have issued 8 suspensions over that same time period, including suspensions to both Sergachev and Keller for their incidents. Now, for those of you who might not know, my suspension scale is based on how dangerous something is and also how far removed it is from a hockey play, how much I want it out of the game, and how little it relates to the game of hockey. And I'll be expanding on that a little further in other episodes. You'll get to know what I mean by non-hockey play and hockey play. But essentially, a hockey play is something that serves a player's hockey purpose, and a non-hockey play is something that a player does not have to do to accomplish their goals in what they're supposed to be doing for the purposes of hockey. The extracurricular activities, the after the whistle, the cross checks to the head versus the little ones on the hips, that sort of thing. The further away it is from a legal play, the further it is from serving a hockey purpose, the more I want it out of the game, the longer suspension it's going to get. So with that in mind, I want you to understand that, again, I'm not saying what the NHL's Department of Player Safety should have done, but in my world, I would have given, for instance, Mikhail Sergachev 6 games for his sucker punch to Connor Garland, and it would have given Clayton Keller 7 games for his cross check to the head of Eric Brandstrom. Compare that to the 2 fines the NHL gave. If you want to see my detailed explanations for that, go to my YouTube channel and watch my videos, my tough call suspension videos, and they break down the play and explain bit by bit what I see and why I would give out the supplementary discipline that I do. Um, I would have given Nick Ritchie 4 games for an illegal check to the head of Justin Hall. That was on December 29th. That wasn't even called a penalty, let alone given any suspension. I would have given Kevin Fiala 3 games for boarding on Alex Newhook. That was also December 29th. Braden McNabb would have got 4 games for an illegal check to the head of Mark Jankowski on December 31st. He was issued a match penalty for that. I would have given Dylan Dubé 4 games for elbowing on January 8th. That was called a minor penalty for boarding and no supplemental discipline. And an interesting one that I'm going to get into now is the other 2 suspensions. I would have given a suspension to Jared Anderson Nolan. I would have given him 5 games, and Joel Edmondson also 5 games, both of them for my category called needlessly endangering an official. Both those instances were on December 29th. They're in scrums. And basically, under the tough call system, what I have is an official protection clause where if there's a scrum that breaks out and people are in an altercation and the officials come in and break it up, and you have been clearly instructed to leave the area and you've been clearly instructed to finish all the stuff you're doing, and the referee actually has a hold of you and you either break free or reach over the ref to do any more, get an extra punch over his head, or actually someone who's not involved with the ref isn't grabbing, come in and start something up. If the scrum is over and you restart it and the officials have to get in there and break it up even more, that to me is putting the officials at a risk that they shouldn't have to be in. You're not serving any hockey purpose. It's too far removed from the original altercation. So to me, that's an automatic 5 game suspension for putting those officials in a place where they now have to break up an extra altercation when they already had everything smoothed over. That's where I'm trying to go with that. It's protecting the officials and getting rid of some of the extracurricular activities that happen well after the original altercation. People that have no business being involved, or people that have already been removed from a situation and then they restart things needlessly. That has to stop. We need to punish those players. They might think it's worth it. I get it. It's an emotional game. People might think that message is still worth sending even after all the stuff has calmed down. And then you want to go back at someone. That's great. That's your choice. You can still choose to do that and think it's the right choice. but you should expect to be punished appropriately for it. And I think we could get rid of a lot of the shenanigans if we took these things more seriously. And this is my way of doing that. Again, if you want to see a full breakdown on any one of these suspensions or incidents, go to Top Call YouTube channel and watch the videos there.